So your shadow self might be the one watching porn, and until you confront it, the cycle will never end. You see, the part of you that's causing this destructive habit is also the part of you that you've been running from for years. It's time you face the uncomfortable truth. The part of you that you've buried deep down might actually hold the key to breaking free from your addiction. So today, we're going to dive deep into Carl Jung's concept of shadow self. And I love this concept because you have to dig deep and you have to really figure out why you're doing it and what's going on. This is like really intense inner work that you must do to overcome this problem. So it's the hidden part of your psyche that drives your compulsions without you even realizing it. So we're going to explore why suppressing this side of you makes it stronger and how embracing it actually can transform your life. So this isn't about guilt. It's not about shame. It's about understanding. It's about becoming aware of the unspoken fears and unmet needs that keep you stuck in a cycle of addiction. So this knowledge will give you the power to finally break free. So stick around because I'm not just going to give you theory. I'm going to tell you a story about myself that might just sound a lot like your own. So here's a relatable story. Austin, the high achiever. So back in 2016, I was 2015, 2016, I was graduating school, got a great job at a company. Okay, I was doing well. I was studying for my master's, got into my master's program in finance. People loved me at the company. I was doing really well. I was crushing it in my first few months. To my team, I was unstoppable, the kind of man who's always one step ahead, always in control. But when the workday was ending and the silence of my empty home settled in, my double life began. And instead of unwinding and spending time with friends or going out and dating, I would isolate myself in my room, drawn to my computer screen like a moth to a flame. So I would look at escort sites, which massage parlor was near me, go on apps, post Craigslist ads, looking at porn, all of this in the span from like 9 p.m. to 4 a.m., like just for hours. And I knew this was toxic and I knew it was hurting myself, but it's like I was trapped in this trance driven by something deeper than just desire. Every morning when I woke up, I go to sleep at 4 a.m., wake up at 8 a.m., guilt would crash over me like a tidal wave. But by nightfall, I'm right back at it the next night. And I can't figure out why I keep sabotaging myself. Why can't I just stop? What's the truth here? I was fighting against my shadow self, the part of my psyche that I've been running from years, for years. And this is where I get into Carl Jung's theory. Okay. And Carl Jung is one of the most influential psychologists of the 20th century, and you've probably heard of him. He believed that every person has a shadow self within them. So they have your true self, then you have a shadow self. It's a part of our psyche that holds the aspects of ourself we reject, or we repress that, we shove it away. So think of it as the closet where you shove your unwanted emotions, fears, insecurities, and desires. It's where your stress and your loneliness and your guilt and your unmet needs go when you're too busy or too proud to acknowledge them. But here's the catch. Just because you suppress it doesn't mean it disappears. It's quite the opposite. It grows stronger the more you ignore it, and eventually it finds ways to control your life without even realizing it. So when I finally decided to confront my shadow, I realized that my addiction wasn't just about lust. It had nothing to do about lust. Zero. It was about stress. It was about unresolved trauma from when I was younger. It was about the fear of being vulnerable. I had spent years pushing these feelings down, telling myself the real men don't feel weak or lonely. But in doing so, I gave my shadow power to control me from the inside out. And this is the power of the shadow integration. So, what happens now? One night, instead of numbing out with porn and escorts and whatnot, I decided to do something different. And this was actually like 3 years ago. And I grabbed a journal and I began writing, not just about my addiction, but about the feelings behind it. So I asked myself, what am I truly feeling when I'm about to watch porn? What am I seeking that I'm not getting in real life? What's the pain I'm trying to avoid? And what I discovered shocked me. It wasn't about sexual desire at all. It was about stress from always being in control, always trying to chase success, always trying to grind it out and this. And like it was a mess in my head. I always had to be up here and compare myself to this person, to that person. It was just a never-ending cycle of bullshit. And there was loneliness from being emotionally distant, and the pressure of maintaining this status and trying to be successful. And I never allowed myself, to feel weak or vulnerable. And my shadow self was suffocating under the weight of all the suppressed emotions. And for the first time, I wasn't trying to fight my urges. I was actually trying to understand them. And that made all the difference. It made all the difference. So this is where you start building a new relationship with the shadow. So when you confront your shadow, you don't attack it, you dialogue with it. And this is what I work with clients. I help them dialogue and identify what parts of them they need to work on. So you listen to your shadow's its needs, and you acknowledge its pain. So instead of treating your cravings like enemies, you recognize them as signals. It's like, imagine you're at a stoplight, red is stop, yellow is slow down, green is go. You have to think of it like that. I began to practice shadow work for a while, and whether it was journaling, meditating, or voice journaling, dialoguing was very, very helpful for me. I learned to sit with this discomfort instead of escaping into it. It's so uncomfortable, but it's so, so worth it. So whenever temptation struck, I'd pause and say to myself, I see you. I know what you're feeling. Let's talk about it. And by naming and accepting my emotions rather than suppressing them, I found that the cravings lost their power over me. So I wasn't fighting against myself anymore. I was integrating this shadow aspect of myself, accepting that even my flaws were part of my humanity. I had to accept it. I had to embrace it. Very uncomfortable to do. And as I continued my shadow work, my relationship with friends and my ex at the time, it started to improve, and I became more emotionally present and vulnerable, allowing me to see the parts of myself that I used to hide. And it wasn't easy, but it was real. It was what I really needed to embrace. And I started going back to work, and I wasn't trying to project anything. I became more human. I became more relatable. Even outside, I started making all these incredible friends in these different communities, and more relatable to people, and people respected me, and I started attracting people in this magnetic energy. Like, people just start drawn to you when you start giving off this different aura of energy. And by embracing your flaws and imperfections, you find a new sense of strength and authenticity, and people can see this clearly, and they respect the hell out of you. And this is what makes a man a truly powerful man, is when they can step into that, work on themselves, and overcome, and then you start attracting like things in your life, and it's the coolest thing ever. I'm still working on it, but it's been an incredible journey since I've started. So now it's your turn, and I want you to pause for a moment and ask yourself this. What might your shadow self be seeking through porn? Is it comfort? Is it escape? Is it control? Are you trying to chase something? Drop just one word in the comments to name that feeling. It might feel uncomfortable, but trust me, acknowledging it is the first step towards your freedom. And if you want to dive deeper into shadow integration exercises or practical ways to incorporate this into your life, make sure to hit the like button and let me know. Your support not only helps me create more content, but it also shows that you're ready to make a change. And that's what I want to see. I want to see you make a change. I want to help you. Don't forget to subscribe for more unconventional but effective recovery tips. So here we're not just talking about quitting and through like sheer willpower and discipline. We're talking about like literally transforming the internal self of you. And I want you to attract everything that you want in your life. So I want you to reclaim your power, confront your shadow, and I want to see you live with your best life with purpose and power. Yeah, see you in the next video.